Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday. My camera's all wonky. I'm feeling wonky today. I'm feeling the whole Monday of it all. How about you guys? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you're tuning in from. As always, let me know where you're tuning in from in those comments. Hello to everybody on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. This is our Monday Refueled show. And if it's your first time joining, I'll run down what happens here. So this is basically we're refueling you with amazing content that we do from Fueled by Deathcast. And if you've never heard of Fueled by Deathcast, get on it. Fueled by Deathcast is our weekly podcast. Comes out every single Thursday. And it comes out wherever podcasts are found. That's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and right from the source at deathwishcoffee.com/deathcasts. And every single Thursday, I talk to a special guest about what they do, why they do it, and ask the question, what fuels their passion? And every Monday, we've been kind of looking back through the archives and playing some of my favorite episodes, some of your favorite episodes, giving you guys some behind the scenes and stuff like that. Now, it's been brought to my attention that we do more than just the interviews here at Fueled by Deathcast. I come out with every single Sunday. I come out with a Sunday Science mini episode, and it can range from anything from space to archaeology. This week was all about dinosaurs because the prior week I did a science segment all about sea monsters and the science of sea monsters, and that got me thinking about dinosaurs. And so I went down a rabbit hole of dinosaurs and found all this new information and this really cool stuff about new discoveries. So if you are into dinosaurs, check out the newest episode of Science wherever podcasts are found, right here. Haha. But I got some comments that, everybody's been really enjoying the Refueled segment, but not only to refuel us with the interviews that I've done on Fueled by Deathcast, but how about do it with some of the science episodes as well? And I thought that'd be pretty cool. So this week, I wanted to dive into a series I did at the very beginning of quarantine this year. I had so much fun doing this, and it's been in the news a lot lately, actually. It's the Alien series. There's been some talk of UFOs being announced by the military, and it's some crazy rabbit hole stuff. And I actually do talk about it in later episodes of this series. I did a 6-part series all about aliens, about what it means to be a close encounter of the first kind, the second kind, the third kind. Alien encounters from ancient times. Like, are you guys fans of Ancient Aliens? I love that freaking show. It's so much fun to watch. In fact, it used to be a ritual of my wife and I. We would brew coffee on a Sunday morning and then just turn on Ancient Aliens and crush 2 or 3 episodes because it was just, it's just fun. So, early encounters plus some of the more infamous encounters, also abductions, that kind of thing. I really got into it and really had a good time putting this series together. So I thought, what better way to show you guys, if you missed it, an episode of the Alien series on Refueled. And if you dig this, there are 6 episodes of this series. You can find them on YouTube, also wherever podcasts are found. But if you guys really dig it, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll do all the episodes on these Refueled, and we can go down that alien rabbit hole together. So I hope that you guys are, like I said, are having a good Monday. I will be in the comments if you guys want to talk about aliens or talk about anything I'm talking about. This first episode is all about the earliest encounters, the earliest known, written down encounters that could technically be considered alien encounters. Again, it's super fun to talk about. Who knows what people were seeing, back in the day, but it's really, really fun. So without further ado, here is Refueled this week of the Alien series, the first ever episode we did of our 6-part series all about aliens.
Science!
Beings from another planet. Ancient astronauts. Little green men. Aliens. The idea of extraterrestrials and the existence of UFOs and aliens has been popularized in just about the last 70 years thanks to science fiction movies, books, and television shows. When you look up at the night sky and see the vastness of space, you can't help but wonder, are we alone in the universe? Countless scientists, pseudoscientists, researchers, pilots, government officials, authors, and more have weighed in on the possibility of the existence of aliens, and if so, have they visited our planet recently or in the distant past? I am by no means an expert, merely a curious observer, and through this multi-part series, I plan to look deep into some of the research and reports surrounding UFOs and encounters with aliens, some of the communities that have stemmed from UFO research, and to see if there's any science and truth behind these claims that toe the line between science and fiction. Part 1. The Early Encounters. Thanks to highly successful series like Ancient Aliens, UFO Files, and others, the idea that extraterrestrials have visited Earth in the past is an easy one to digest. But where does our collective notion of aliens from another world or extraterrestrials even come from? Alien, as we use the word today, stems from 14th century Latin, the literal term meaning stranger, foreign, or belonging from somewhere else. Extraterrestrial is actually much younger, stemming from the golden age of science fiction. Early civilizations did look at the sky and wonder, just like we do, if we are truly alone. Many believed we were being watched over by various deities or gods, even attributing celestial phenomenons and weather patterns to these omnipresent beings. The Greeks and Romans, for example, named the brightest lights in the sky after their gods, like Mars and Venus and Jupiter, not knowing that these were actually alien worlds, planets in our very own solar system. This broader idea of cosmic pluralism, or the philosophical belief that there are numerous worlds in addition to Earth that could harbor life, started around 600 BC. In ancient Greek times, the pre-Socratic thinker Anaximander proposed the strong pluralist stance of the infinite universe theory and was backed by great philosophers like Leucippus, who developed the theory of atomism, another radical idea that everything was composed of infinite, invisible particles called atoms. Plato and Aristotle were opposed to these ideas, arguing that the Earth was singular and unique, and the theories of cosmic pluralism were dovetailed for over a millennium. Eventually, this single Earth theory was all reversed thanks to great scientists and thinkers like Copernicus and Johannes Kepler, and the invention and implementation of the telescope. Cosmic plurality wasn't truly accepted again until the 17th century. But what of these early reports of beings from another world, strange craft in the sky, all interacting with the ancient civilizations of the world? Granted, some of it can be chalked up to various religious beliefs or cultural doctrines that were in place during ancient history, but there are some cases that are worth considering. There are different types of interaction with what people have considered to be aliens or UFOs, deemed close encounters by J. Allen Hynek in his 1972 book, The UFO Experience: A Scientific Inquiry. Before we dive into some of these cases in ancient history, let's look at the different kinds of close encounters. Close encounters of the first kind. This is the most common, consisting of a visual sighting of an unidentified flying object, or UFO, usually from less than 500 feet away, and with some sort of detail to report. Close encounters of the second kind. This is a UFO-level event where some physical effect has occurred, including interference in the function of a machine or vehicle, a psychological effect on the witness, animals reacting, or traces left like scorched earth. Close encounters of the third kind. This is an encounter with a UFO where an entity is present, an alien if you will, and can be a life form or robotic presence. This scale has been widened since the boom of UFO and alien reports in the last 50 years, so the extended encounters include close encounters of the fourth kind. This is when a human has been abducted by a UFO or aliens, or the witness experienced a powerful transformation of their reality. Close encounters of the fifth kind. This is when someone has reported direct communication between themselves and an alien life form. Close encounters of the sixth kind. This involves the death of a human or an animal in direct response to an alien encounter. Close encounters of the seventh kind. This is the creation of an alien-human hybrid being. Now, while a lot of that seems outlandish, those first three kinds are widely accepted and used among researchers of UFOs and aliens. I'll be looking at a lot of the different types of kinds of encounters throughout this series, but in this first episode, let's look at some of the cases that predate this scale before the UFO sighting explosion in the 1900s. The oldest, and one of the most disputed, comes from the Tully Papyrus translations. According to the translation of the Egyptian papyrus from the notes of a deceased Vatican Museum director, the scribes of the Pharaoh Thutmose III reported fiery discs and circles of fire floating over the skies around 1440 BC. This account is highly disputed because of the nature of the translation, the lack of evidence surrounding the papyrus, and other factors. But it is worth noting that the idea of something strange and unusual in the sky was being reported so long ago, even if it is just fiction. In 74 AD, the Greek biographer Plutarch recounted a strange occurrence on the battlefield before the Roman army and the army of Pontus. He writes, "All on a sudden, the sky burst asunder, and a huge, flame-like body was seen to fall between the two armies. In shape, it was most like a wine jar, and in color, like molten silver. This apparently fiery silver, wine jar, or pithos type of object was reported by soldiers on both sides of the battle. So even if this wasn't aliens, what exactly was seen by so many people that day?" In 1561, a mass sighting of an aerial battle took place, or at least that's what residents of Nuremberg described. According to the Broadsheet newspaper article from April 14th, 1561, the aerial battle was followed by a large, black, triangular object, and a loud crash was heard outside the city, and hundreds of smaller objects could be seen in the sky. Science and skeptics alike dictate that this occurrence could be chalked up to a sundog, the phenomenon that shows a second and sometimes third sun thanks to light being scattered and refracted by ice particles in the air. This occurrence in Nuremberg, along with a similar account in 1566 over Basel, Switzerland, have both been deemed UFO sightings by alien enthusiasts and researchers. In 1803, an unknown object washed ashore in the Hitachi province of Japan. As the legend goes, the Utsuro Bun, or hollow boat, washed up on the shore made of rosewood and metal, and was rounded with a dome top. A mysterious woman emerged, barely 20 years old, with white skin and red hair, and spoke a language that no one could understand. She also held tightly to a box that no one was allowed to touch. UFO researchers cite this as one of the earliest examples of a close encounter of the third kind. Scientists and skeptics chalk this up to legend and folklore. One of the most compelling arguments is from Dr. Kazuo Tanaka, who said it was odd this event wasn't reported in the curatorial documents of the time, as strangers leaving the shores of Japan were always reported at once. In 1883, astronomer Jose Bonilla saw over 300 dark objects pass over the sun as he was observing sunspots at the Zacatecas Observatory in Mexico. He was able to take photographs of what he saw, and some UFO researchers consider these to be the earliest photographic proof of extraterrestrials. One theory is the mysterious objects are a flock of high-flying geese, while another suggests they could be fragments of a billion-ton comet that missed the Earth in 1883. On April 17, 1897, a UFO apparently crashed in Aurora, Texas. The newspaper article states, "The airship sailed directly over the public square, and when it reached the north part of town, collided with the tower of Judge Proctor's windmill and went to pieces in a terrific explosion, scattering debris over several acres of ground, wrecking the windmill and water tank, and destroying the judge's flower garden." The article goes on to report, "The pilot of the ship, while his remains are badly disfigured, enough of the original has been picked up to show that he was not an inhabitant of this world. Papers found on his person Evidently, the record of his travels are written in some unknown hieroglyphics and cannot be deciphered. This so-called alien was buried in the local cemetery, and there is a plaque that stands there to this day that mentions the pilot being buried there. Also, the pieces of the craft were allegedly thrown down a well and sealed up, and the papers with the hieroglyphics were lost to time. In 1980, a resident of the town, then 86-year-old Etta Pegues, said it was all a hoax, fabricated by the reporter to drum up interest in Aurora because the town was dying as the new railroad lines had bypassed it. This incident is still being investigated by UFO researchers today, being featured on episodes of UFO Files and UFO Hunters. A lot of these early alien and UFO encounters stories can be chalked up to legend and religious and cultural interpretation. But in 1903, humanity took to the skies and started on its path to developing our ability to fly. But this also increased the number of UFO and alien sightings exponentially, and a lot of these are still a mystery today. So in the next episode, I'm going to look at some of these cases from the 1900s up until today and see if science can shed some light on some of these mysteries. So much fun doing that episode. And like I said, if you guys are interested in more, there are 5 other parts to that up on YouTube. I had a lot of fun putting those together. And maybe we'll do some more on future refuels as well. I like that people not only want to see, you know, some of the archives of the interview-based podcast, but also the science-based podcast, because I really do enjoy doing the science mini episodes every single week, along with some of the greater series that we've gotten to do, which is the Alien series. I did another 6-part series on humanity in space, which is really exciting because this November, we celebrate 20 years of humans continuously living and working at the International Space Station. So it was really cool to put together that series. And last year, I started the Halloween Science series, and that was probably my favorite one to put together. I'm taking classic Halloween themes and breaking them down scientifically because, you know, there is some science behind some things. And last year, I did the science of Frankenstein, which, of course, a scientist made the monster. The science of witches, and the science of ghosts. And you can find all of those on YouTube as well. But I'll probably replay a couple of those as we're getting closer to Halloween. I think we've got, 75 days until Halloween? 74 days until Halloween at this point? Oh my God, I'm so excited. I love Halloween. I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. I hope you guys, continue on with the rest of the week. As always, like I said, every Thursday the podcast comes out with brand new, awesome interviews to inspire you and entertain you. And every Sunday we have a Sunday Science series. Every single Wednesday, tune back in here on Facebook. Sometimes I get to do it on YouTube and Twitch as well, but definitely on Facebook on Wednesdays we do the live update. And all you racing fans, all you NASCAR fans, we might be doing something really special this Wednesday. So you might want to tune in to that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. If I don't see you, as always, stay caffeinated. Keep your mugs up.